Hi, my name is Miriam Gaudelli. I am a business coach at YES Employment and Entrepreneurship. Are you constantly asking yourself, how much should I price my product or service? If yes, this video will help you with 6 pricing strategy tips. For our first tip, we will look at a value-based pricing model versus a cost-based pricing model. In a cost-based pricing model, you look at how much it costs to provide the product or service, and then you add on a markup so that you can make a profit. This, however, does not take into account how much your target market is willing to pay for your product or service. In a value-based pricing model, you need to ask yourself, how much is my client willing to pay for this? And that's how you decide your price. This does not take into account how much it costs to provide the product or service. So what do? You take your value-based model, you take your cost-based model, you bring them together, and you come up with a price that helps you to make a profit, covers your cost, and makes sense to your target market. So when we look at cost-based versus value-based pricing, let's look at an everyday example. You'll all know this. There's Tim Hortons coffee, which for a medium is about $2.10. Then we have Starbucks. It's about $2.95. Why that difference in price? It might cost Starbucks a few cents difference to make the coffee due to the quality of the beans, but that doesn't account for the whole 85-cent difference. While Tim Hortons is cheaper, Starbucks positions itself as having a higher value, which is why they can charge more for their product. So for tip 2, we're going to look at how to avoid some common price traps. The first price trap is selling the way that you buy. Often business owners will set prices for their products and services according to their buying habits, when they should be considering the buying habits of their target market. Let's take a Ferrari salesman, for instance. Often they can't afford to buy a Ferrari, but they know what language to use and what tactics to use to sell the Ferrari to the target market. The second price trap is discounting your products or services too often. If you are constantly giving rebates or hosting sales, then clients will start to expect the lower price, and it could cheapen the value of your product or service. The third price trap is underpricing yourself compared to industry standards. If you are constantly pricing yourself lower than your competitors, then that will give the impression that your quality is less than that of your competitors, and that can drive your clients away from you. The fourth price trap is undervaluing your prices. Many will see this as imposter syndrome. This is the belief that your product or service is not good enough to be priced fairly. At the end of the day, you're offering a solution to a problem, and that solution is valuable to your target market. Now let's move on to estimating profit margins. Something that many business owners forget to take into account is their time. How long does it take to make, produce, plan, deliver, and support their product or service? Let's take the example of a cup of coffee. We need to consider the coffee beans, the cup, the lid, the sleeve, the stir stick, the sugar, the milk, the employee wages, the cleanup, the rent, the electricity, and the income for the business owner. Make sure you have a tool that helps you to consider all of these factors so that you aren't losing money. Remember, the best tool is the one that you will use and implement into your business, even if it is just pen and paper. Here are some tools that you can use. The first tool is the Shopify Profit Margin Calculator. It is best for e-commerce sellers and product-based businesses. It is a simple, quick way to estimate profit margins before listing a product. Then there is QuickBooks, an accounting software. It is best for small to medium-sized businesses that want integrated accounting and reporting. It is accurate, has real-time data, which means better profit margin estimates. Thirdly, we have custom spreadsheets such as Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. It's best for startups and business owners creating plans or investor pitches. It includes templates and forecasting tools to accurately model profitability scenarios. Now we'll look at the psychology of pricing. Do you want more people to say yes and to buy from you, then you need to understand the psychology behind their buying habits. The first psychological strategy is called anchoring. This is when you give the clients a reference point or a mental anchor. So let's say you have a watch that is $2,999 and another watch that is $10,000. It will show the clients that they're getting a similar quality, but for a much more reasonable price. The second psychological price strategy is called charm pricing. This is where the magic of 99 comes in. So $49.99 seems a lot cheaper than $50. It makes it seem more reasonable for your clients. As an added benefit, if you do not choose a number that is a multiple of 5, it is easier to raise your prices in the future. For instance, it is easier to go from $54.99 to $56.99 than if you were at $55 going up to $57. The last psychological price strategy includes price tiers. This is when you have a basic, a standard, and a premium package that you can offer to your clients. This gives you the ability to upsell them in the future and to retain them for longer. Now let's move on to looking at increasing your prices. You have your product, you have your service, you're making sales. It is important to still keep an eye on the costs and also on your prices to make sure you're moving in the right direction. So firstly, if the cost of your materials or your resources goes up, it's time to raise your price. Secondly, if you've been consistently fully booked, even during the quiet months for at least 3 months, this is my 3-month rule, then you know that your demand is much higher than your supply, and it is time to increase your prices. Thirdly, it is better to raise your prices gradually rather than waiting a long time and then having a big jump. Having small increases in price will be better accepted by your clients, and they will get used to this habit of increasing your prices. Lastly, and most importantly, be honest and clear about your changes in pricing. Be concise, transparent, and most importantly, confident about your prices. Finally, for tip 6, consult a coach. It is important to have a team of professionals there to guide you and help you in your journey, especially to set the right prices to attract the right clients. The team of coaches at YES Employment and Entrepreneurship is here to help you through that journey. You deserve to be paid fairly for the value that you add for your clients. If you are unsure of how to get there and need support, we are here to help guide you.